Hey, this is Mark, and today I have an iPhone 6S with no backlight, and it's not the filter. So let's find out what it is. So first we can look and see the filter is right here, and what we will typically see is that there's going to be like a crack in this waterproof coating and maybe even like a solder ball popping out. But don't see any sign of that, so I expect that that filter is going to be just fine. So I'm going to take a diode mode measurement on the anode line. I'm getting 0.002, which is way low. That's supposed to be somewhere around like 0.5, 0.47, 0.48, 0.5, something like that. So that doesn't leave a lot of possibilities. Really, on the anode line, there's only a couple of ways that it could be short to ground. It could conceivably be the backlight driver itself shorting the line to ground, but most often what it's going to be, or well, really always what it's going to be, is a cap. And it could be any of the handful of caps that are on the line, but what we find consistently is that it is almost all, or it is actually always the big cap. I keep wanting to qualify these statements and like leave room for, maybe every once in a while it's something else, but the truth is it really isn't. It's always short on anode line is always that big cap. Even though it could be other things, it just never is. So we're going to take this shield off and have a look at things. Now when that cap shorts, it usually also takes out the diode, either the main diode or sometimes it'll just take out the selfie flash diode, and then it most of the time takes out the coil as well. Alright, so we can see it definitely took out the main diode, and then the coil looks a little bulged. Let's see if we can get that at a better angle. It's actually not that bad. This may be one of the handful of times where the coil is not fried. So we'll give this a shot with just changing the diode and the big cap. So we'll get back in here in diode mode, and that is on the anode line, and it is short to ground. So just, I guess, for the sake of the video, we'll test both sides. See, both sides beep. You don't want both sides to beep, and this side is actually the line, which should not be beeping. And, I have not done one of these since I started using the hot plate. I'm thinking maybe I would put this on the hot plate if I have any issues getting this cap off. Sometimes this cap doesn't want to come off very easily. But this particular case, doesn't have as much underfill around it as they sometimes get. So that comes off just fine. I'm going to get that little leftover piece of that cap out of there. Okay, now let's get this diode off. Now with the diode off, I've basically cut the rest of the anode off. So, yeah, I won't get, oh wait, multimeter turned off. So I'll get a reading there, but I should not get a reading out of the connector anymore. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm still getting a reading because of this diode, so there is still a path through there. I was going to say, if this was a 6 with the diode removed, I would have gotten, it would have just been open line from the connector, but there's still kind of a path through this diode. But now, you know, my short's gone. I guess that's really the point, is short's gone, and if this were a 6, I would be getting no beep with the diode off, but because it's a 6S, I do get a short little chirp, which my multimeter means you're getting a diode mode reading. Alright, now to dig out the 6S backlight caps. Oh, you know what? I still have some sitting here. They've been sitting here for like a year. 2 years, more like it. I don't know if you can hear what's going on in the background. Hopefully I've adjusted the audio settings so you can't really hear it, but if you can hear all of the noise in the background, that is my daughter going nuts with the Paw Patrol toys while she watches Peppa Pig. Brother's at school, sister's at school, mom is at school, so dad and youngest baby get to stay home and hang out while dad fixes stuff. I love my job. Can't imagine anything better than being able to sit here and record YouTube videos while I fix things and then just get up and go play with my daughter whenever I want. It's the best life I could imagine for myself. Alright, so now I need a diode. Gotta dig out a diode. And also I need to know the orientation of that diode because I did not pay attention. Good job, Mark. Thinking ahead. Where are you at, backlight stuff? There we go. Oof. Hate it when I drop it in the flux and I can't see the markings. Okay, looks like the line is now at the top, which I believe is the way that this goes, because I can clearly see that the bottom pad in this orientation runs under the chip, so that would be the output from the chip going through the diode and into the rest of the anode line. So pretty sure it goes that way. We'll see. I can check and see what diode mode reading I get at the connector. So before, without that diode, I was getting about 0.57, which is close. So I'm getting 0.6. That seems high. So now I'm not so sure. I guess the only way to really tell is to just give it a test. The worst that could happen is that I don't have backlight and I have to switch that thing around. Yeah, no backlight. So I must have that reversed. Oh, somebody's at the door. Okay, back to it. We gotta flip this diode around. And you know what? I am going to check first and see, because I feel like it's my kind of luck where I'm gonna flip that diode around and then realize that no, it was correct orientation the whole time, and your whole problem is that you need to change that coil, and that's why there's no backlight. So we're gonna pop open ZXW. As soon as it loads up, I'll switch over. Let's go W, pull up iPhone 6S, and let's see. So I want the line to be at the end that goes out to the filter. So I do have the correct orientation. All right, so this coil has got to go. And I think for removing this coil, I am going to use the hot plate, because this coil is always a pain in the ass to take off. But I do want to kind of protect that CPU and the backlight driver. That should do it. Oh, that diode was not all the way down. Sneaky, sneaky diode. All right. Let's see if that gives me the diode mode reading that I expect. At the connector on the anode line. Yes, much better. So now I'm at like 340 and going up. So that's just because the board is hot. So I'm going to let the board cool down a little bit and take one final diode mode reading, and then I'll test. But I think that it would have already been reading much higher if it still had an issue. All right, let's see, where are we at now? Yeah, we're at 0.4 and really, really slowly climbing. 0.41. So I don't think this is going to get up to 0.6. All right. All right, let's put the screen back on and test. Ah, still no backlight. Son of a bitch. Well, I guess I'm just not going to get out of changing that coil, because my diode mode reading will not tell me if there's a problem with the coil. So yeah, just make sure I get a reading on this cap, and that the cap, yeah. So yeah, all right, all my diode mode readings are good now, so that only leaves the stupid coil. Now I need to check and make sure I actually have those coils. It's been so long since I've needed them. Ah, yeah, I still got some of those guys. All right. Diode, what is your problem? Diode does not want to stay there. Pain in the ass. Why is everything being a pain in the ass today? Everything except you, Fiona. You are a good girl. That needs a little flux. That's what its problem is. Okay. Now, can I get this freaking coil out of here? All right. Toss some leaded solder on there. Ah! Try not to suck up the neighborhood caps. Ah, damn it. Alright, you are going back there. Alright, now, new coil. There we go. That should do it. Alright. Now, if there are any other issues, it's going to require a new driver. So, and basically what I'm doing here, what I've been doing this whole time is, trying to replace the smallest number of components possible. And, it's sometimes that's a waste of time. There was a time when I would go into this and say, okay, I'm going to replace that cap, that driver, that diode, and this coil. No matter what. I'm not even going to check and see if anything, if I think they need to be replaced. I'm not going to test after doing, the diode and the cap. I'm just going to replace it all at once because most of the time I have to replace everything. And, and then I went for a couple of years of not doing any 6S backlight jobs. And now I'm back to the, well, maybe I can just get away with replacing the diode and the cap. Well, maybe I can just replace the diode cap and the coil. And, maybe I'm going to have to replace the driver too, and I should have done that from the beginning. No, we got backlight. Yay! Alright, so this one is solved. And I don't have to replace the driver. Hooray! Alright, so I'm going to end this and stitch these two halves together. Yep, thanks for watching.